So moving on to what I brought up to you right before, our boy Vivek Ramaswamy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've told you we've been vocal, been big fans of Vivek. I still think he's a good guy, and I think he's got a solid standing for what the country should be. He's got good morals. He's got, he's well educated. He's a great businessman. He's a good guy, but it seems like we might have caught him in a bit of a do as I say, not as I do situation, kind of misspeaking. I don't know. Again, but it's just so back when he was in the presidential campaign, actually running for president during the 2024 election, right? Same, as Trump was this last one, right? Now, that's when everybody got to know who this guy was. Nobody ever heard of this dude or whatever. He went from like less than 0% chance to like, I think he ended up getting 8%, 8 or 10% when it was done. From a no-name guy to go up to that point in his first run, that's fucking phenomenal. I'm not gonna lie, because nobody knew who this dude was, and he's a billionaire. Like he's a very rich guy. So it's like you would know who he was if you were in those business circles. But like everybody knows who Donald Trump is, because he's been in the light. He was the Apprentice and stuff like that. But everybody knew. But then again, like Candace Owens brought up, like he was the most rapped about dude in all the rap songs. Everybody wanted to be like Donald Trump, right? Until he ran for president. But again, this dude came out of nowhere and just took the Republican Party by storm. Like he was just like, holy shit. And I was like, if Trump can't, if the Dems end up, winning this over and getting him locked up or ineligible to run, I was like, I would vote for him. Like he seems like he's got a good fucking head on shoulders, a good plan. And he wanted to shut down the fucking FBI, which I think was a great idea. And we've talked about that too. Right. But there was an interview because he's running for governor of Ohio. There was an interview. Now, real quick, you and I, because I asked you, when he was on the campaign trail, he had brought up multiple times that he's second generation, right? So his first, his parents immigrated to the U.S. legally. He said that multiple times. I'm not making that up, right? Because they even asked, I was like, this is what I put in here. Did Vivek say during the 2024 campaign that his parents both immigrated to the U.S. the correct way? So this is a response. Yes, Vivek Ramaswamy repeatedly emphasized during his 2024 presidential campaign that his parents immigrated to the U.S. legally, often contrasting their pathways with illegal immigration, because that was the big talk of, the campaign, illegal immigration, right? And he's talking about like, my parents came here and did it the right way. I was born here, but my parents immigrated from India the correct way, right? He brought up that multiple times. Okay.
Yeah.
So he consistently used equivalent. Okay. So I guess not the correct way, but he consistently used equivalents like legally the right way and implied legal immigration as the proper path in contrast to the illegal entry, which great. Yeah. And he is also on board about with President Trump, what he's trying to do and what, me and you like, was it ending birthright citizenship because it's bullshit. Okay. Plenty of people coming to America who are not citizens just to have a baby so they can have that anchor baby that keeps them here, because then that baby is then born as a legal citizen. We are the only country that does this, and that is retarded. Yeah. Okay. So again, that should be nixed, and he's brought that up too. So like, great, that's a great stance. I agree with that. Now he's getting interviewed. Fuck, that's not what I want. He's getting interviewed because he's running for governor of Ohio, and just let this play for itself.
I believe in being consistent about my policies where...
So your father is not a citizen of the United States?
He's not.
Okay. And your mother, when did your mom take the citizenship test? Was it before or after you were born?
After I was born.
After you were born. Okay.
After years of being in this, following the legal process of becoming a naturalized citizen, she followed it through the legal process. And
so you gained citizenship through birthright then?
Well, but you gained citizenship through birthright citizenship in that sense too, right? I mean, every American. So what I want to do is revive a vision of citizenship where every kid who enjoys.
I'm sorry, just to backtrack. So your father is not a citizen. Your
they
mother
came to this country legally. I believe
How,
in being
though?
consistent.
But how though? If
on a visa.
yeah, but has he done nothing since?
You
know what I mean?
That is the weird part. Yeah, because how old is Vivek?
Oh, let's see here. $40.
So in over 40 years of being in the United States, his dad is still not a citizen.
Yeah.
There's a problem with that.
Yeah. So, and on top of that, this also brings up he's not a natural born citizen. So he was never eligible to run for president because he can't. Birthright citizenship is not the same as like natural, right? Like you and I, like both of our parents are citizens, and therefore, because you have to, both parents have to be a citizen before you're born to be a natural born citizen. Does that make sense? So
Are you sure?
his both his parents were not legal. Like his mom is now, his dad is still not. But his mom did not take the citizenship test. Whatever.
The
naturalization to gain naturalization until after he was born. So technically he's an anchor baby.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know where the legality still in is, and he's a pretty smart dude. I don't know if he's looked into all this shit, but what I'm saying is like that technically means he's not a natural born citizen, therefore he should not have been eligible to run for president of the United States, which by the way, now the shit of Ted Cruz, that fucker was born in Canada. So but again, I still love Vivek, and I think he has a great fucking head on his shoulders to do all this great stuff. But again, it's just like, that's not a good look. And it's definitely not going to be a good look when it comes to if he tries to throw his hat in the ring for another presidential run. Because, you know, it's one of those things like, you know, because, you know, we were talking about one of the next episodes we want to do because you and I have been working on a list of, you know, government solutions, right? But like, again, something like this, like a natural born citizen should, like it says, it's a law that a natural born citizen has, you have to be a natural born citizen to run for presidential office. Okay. Which obviously why wouldn't you, right? Yeah. That's pretty spot on, but that should be for all levels of government, because then you have non-citizens that get into government, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
And you have dual citizenship, which is retarded and was only created for a specific point of group, if you know what I mean. But yeah, there should be no dual citizenship if you're serving public office, because that means you have loyalty to not just the United States but to another country. You can't do that. That's ridiculous. That doesn't make sense. You have allegiances to two different nations, but you're going to serve one of those nations in a public office.
Okay, so the Constitution does not define the phrase natural born citizen. So therefore, birthright citizenship.
But is it in the articles to run for presidential office though?
You can run for president. Yeah, you can. The birthright citizen, because the U.S. Constitution does not define the phrase natural born citizen, and various opinions have been offered over time regarding its exact meaning. The consensus of the early 21st century Constitution and legal scholars, together with relevant cases and natural born citizens, include, subject to exceptions, those born in the United States. As to those born elsewhere who meet the legal requirements for the birthright citizenship. So, and then it goes on, and I'm skipping some. The consensus emerged in 2016. They also, because the first 9 presidents and the 12th president were all citizens at the adoption of the Constitution, and all being born within the territory held by the United States. So the Supreme Court has considered addressing eligibility challenges but the Supreme Court has never directly addressed the question of a specific presidential or vice president candidate uh, eligibility as a natural born citizen.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm seeing here U.S. Constitution Article 2, Section 1 requires that the president be a natural born citizen.
Yes. So, but what it's saying here is that it's not clearly defined. So, natural born citizens and birthright citizenship can fall under natural born citizenship.
So, okay, so maybe Vivek was able to run legally standing, right? So,
Yes, it
because
says he legally he says can.
yeah, so because it says yes, a person who acquires U.S. citizenship through birthright, just soil, or birth on U.S. soil is eligible to run for and serve as president of the United States, provided they meet the other constitutional requirements, being at least 35 years of age and a U.S. resident for at least 14 years. But then below that, that's why it says the U.S. Constitution, Article 2, Section 1 requires that the president be a natural born citizen. Like it says it in quotes. This term has been long interpreted as in, yeah. So hopefully with this, I'm hoping that the Supreme Court fucking like gives some good clarification as to what that means, because people have always used the 14th Amendment, right? All persons born or naturalized in the United States, but people forget that was only referring to when the slaves were freed to give them citizenship.
Yeah.
But no, they have to use that to mean everybody and anyone, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. But like on here, it says the 14th Amendment does not address the issue of presidential eligibility or the use of the phrase natural born citizen. It states all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. Under Article 1, representatives and senators are required to be U.S. citizens, but there is no requirement that they have to be natural born, in contrast to the presidential requirement. But what it's saying is that there's no definitive answer on, and it's not defined whether an anchor baby is considered natural born citizen or a birthright citizen, because it's essentially saying birthright citizenship follows under a natural born citizen because they are a citizen because they're born here. So you can't immigrate here and go through the process and
become a quote unquote natural born because you weren't born here. So
yes, correct. So that's where the deviation is.
Yeah, so the term anchor baby, often used as a pejoratively for children born in the U.S. to undocumented immigrants, just say illegal, does not create a separate category of citizenship. It refers to standard birthright citizenship, which confers full quote unquote natural born status. I don't know. But again, I'm hoping that the Supreme Court will actually like give a real no bullshit, clarification on this, because it's ridiculous. But
yeah, no, I agree.
But, so again, it's just, again, it's one of those things of like, look, okay, now, yeah, he was probably legally allowed to run for office, but it's not a good look when you had said before multiple times that both of your parents came here, and they may have came here legally on, different types of visas, but why isn't your dad a citizen yet after 40 years? That's what's a little, that's iffy.
What I think's weird.
Yeah. So, but again, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So again, I still hope he has a good future in politics. Because like I said, I think he has a great standing and a good morals to start leading, whether it's Ohio and then maybe eventually to the president. But so I think if he does get elected to Ohio, I don't think he'll put in a bid for presidential run this next one, because I think it'd be too soon for him. I think he'll want to do a lot of stuff in Ohio to kind of build his win rate. You know what I mean? So I would say that my prediction for Vivek throwing his hat in the presidential ring again will be 2032, because that'll be after.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
So it's either going to be 2032 or 2036, because if Vance, wins 2 terms back to back after this, right? Then it would probably be one of those things of like he might throw his hat in the ring for 2032 just as like we'll throw it in there. But I think more
Yeah.
likely it might be 2036 after the 2 terms is up, so he can try to come in as a 2-term president, and then you'll have a lot of wins under his
Yeah.
belt, turning Ohio around, hopefully. So